morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are. We are reaching out with our love. So glad to have you here with us today. Today is more than an amazing day. You've got Rhonda Elliott, Bex Marie, and we have our friend Sifu Boggie here today. Today we're having a party. It's a bring your own boggie. No, really, what he's going to do is he's going to teach us how to be our own boggie today. But first, we would like to take a moment to celebrate our own Bex Marie's birthday today. Where would we be without our mermaid, without our friend and our love? And I pulled a card for you, Bex, and I promise you, I tried so hard. I thought, okay, I'm gonna pull a mermaid, and it's gonna be great. Okay, I did not pull a mermaid. Let me show you what I did pull. This is from the Beyond Your Lemuria deck. Look what you got.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Look at that.
there is water there.
There is water,
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I bet the two know each other. But maybe it's because Boggie's here too, so we got a lot of dragon influence. Oh, there, he's got his mermaid deck out.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm
Cool.
going to read just highlights. I picked out just a couple of sentences for you. And this was, I called in your team and just to find out your message for your birthday. So this is not about anything going on. This is just for your birthday.
Okay.
It is time for expansion. You can be as big as your energy wants to be. This card is the permission slip that allows you to let go of limiting stories and take up all the space you need. And I know you've been feeling that expansion and moving into it as part of your life. Go for it. It says, have fun unleashing who you are. Your support team is so behind you on this. Be mindful that creatively exploring unrefined expression may be what is needed most right now. Remember to center yourself in your heart and be the mastermind of your soul always, in all ways, because this is what your soul wanted to be. Woohoo! Happy birthday,
Thank you
Bex.
so much. Thank you. That was the
So-
best. Thank you. Like a big hug.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I appreciate
That's
that so
awesome.
much. And I'm so happy to be able to hang out here today on my birthday. It's the big 4-0 today.
Woohoo.
Trying to just accept it gracefully, but you know, a little pang of like, holy shit, I'm 40 already. But anyway, so excited that my gift this year gets to be the amazing Sifu Boggie. So anybody who hasn't had their caffeine yet today, you're all set. He's going to take care of you. He is the biggest burst of energy I have ever met in physical form, honestly. And I'm so excited. Sifu, thank you so much for agreeing to hang out today. And can you please share with any of our guests who may not know you already, a little bit about yourself?
Of course, who the heck am I? Well, my actual name is Paul Brighton. Most people know me as Sifu Boggie. Sifu means guide you, somebody who points you along the way, who guides you on your path. Boggie is my second healing name, spiritual name, martial art name, and it means the balancer between the chaos and the calmness. Hence, we'll get to that a bit later. And I, for the last 38 years, it was my birthday. I was 50 in this year, so I'm the big 5-0. So my
Cool.
friends always say 5-0 or more like 5. You know, you think you're 50, but you're more like 5. But so for the last 38 years, I've been studying the Daoist arts. The Dao means the way, the path, the balance. And the Tao is all about finding your personal path, your personal way. And I've got techniques like Qigong, Tai Chi, Tit-Tar, which is Chinese osteopath, TuiNa, Acupressure, Reflexology, 5-element cooking, Daoist philosophy, and all those techniques all balanced together to help the individual. So my main goal for people is to help supercharge themselves, like me, and ensure that they never burn out, like me. And also, very, very quickly, you mentioned mermaid, so I've got the mermaid card, and then your card is some rubbish at reading backwards. But so it's the prosperity of waves, and it says new abundance and exciting opportunities wash over you now. So I'll give that a bit of blast of cheers.
Yes.
Sweet.
I am so open to receiving that. Thank you.
One more. And that's it. Boggie done for now.
Thank you so much. All right, then I guess we should get into our main topic, which is with the insanity going on in this world right now, all this chaos and confusion and frustration, and people feeling lost. How can we find our center and stay in that center, be present in the calm?
Well, it was like I said. So my name. In Daoism, they give it's almost a little bit like the American Indians. They give you names that represent your character, and they give you names that represent your mission as well. So my first name is Taiso, which means big trouble, or it's supreme lower chaos or big trouble. So they knew what, you know, from the beginning. They knew I was a bit of an instigator, and I'd be a bit of, you know, when everybody's swimming one way, Boggie's going to go the other way. But the Boggie was very much this balancing that trouble, balancing the chaos, and with the calmness, and finding, in essence, finding the Tai Chi. The yin, a lot of people call that yin yang. Its true name is Tai Chi, and it's the understanding of that we I know you guys in America get a lot of major tornadoes and also obviously like hurricanes coming through as well. And there's always this thing. You've got the chaos on the outside, and there's that calmness in the center. And it's that thing is, if you can find that calmness, you can travel with that calmness, that center. Eventually, when it disperses, you'll stay in that safe zone. And it's that understanding that life naturally has ups and downs. The Tai Chi symbol, as you turn it to its side, it's a wave, and everything naturally has these ups and downs. And if anything, the interesting thing with this COVID, with this whole issue, is that people probably won't want to admit it or realize it, but you've actually asked for it. And what do you mean by that, Bobby? How many people have said, "Oh, I wish I had more time to spend with my family"? Oh, I wish I had more opportunity to, to learn to play the guitar or do this or do that. Oh, I wish we weren't stuck on the phone all the time, or we talk to each other more. Well, surprise, surprise, here you go. And it's there's always negative and positive, but it's flipped things on its head. It has turned everything around. And it's definitely making people face their trauma in one way or the other. If if you was so overly immersed in a job that you were missing everything, and now that job's either been pulled back or it's in a slightly different way, it's made you face that situation. It's making you face your family. It's making you face even like your health. Because the interesting thing in what's called epigenetics, Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza, I think you girls know I'm a great advocate of those two. They, for 15 years, they have been talking about is that in epigenetics, which is science, that your emotional, your feelings, how you think and feel affects your health. So isn't it ironic? We're in a situation where everybody's papping themselves, scared, and wearing masks, and don't come 2 foot near me, and even the illness itself is known that if you have a weakened immune system, it's more likely to affect you. Fear, being afraid, is weakening your immune system, which actually gives it more chance to actually affect you. So isn't it ironic in a way that we're actually being faced with that? Like, well, here's the science. Science says this. Why are you not doing it? So that the observer affects their own experiment. That was back in the 1910 with the split light experiment that scientists, the physicists, one of them being old Einstein, found out that the observer affects the experiment. The FBI used that back in the 90s or late 90s, and with 2,000 people meditating, and they reduced the crime rate in Washington by 25%. Then they did it worldwide, and they reduced the acts of terror by over 80%, and that was ironically 6 months before September the 11th. But so it's this thing of when we realize that we get scared of this, but we have far more control, especially in our physical body. We are our own creators. We are the own rulers of our body. And the way you think, and the way you feel, and the way you act affects your physical body, let alone the whole woo-woo of, your inner reality affects the outer reality. Your inner reality affects your personal health and your personal well-being. So when you learn to govern that, when you learn to balance it in different ways, you learn to affect your personal reality, which quite naturally will affect other people, your family and other people's realities too. And breathe.
Wow.
You or us. Yeah. Everybody, if you don't have a glass of water, get your water because you're going to need it today.
Man,
Yeah.
I only brought coffee.
I only brought coffee. I
The
don't
one
think
day you-
I brought seafood instead of coffee. That's awesome. Yeah. It's funny that you say. I mean, I know that your emotions affect your immune system. I remember when my mom died, I was in such a state of grief. I was also 6 months pregnant. I had never been sick up until that point. And the day after she died, I got sick because I couldn't be sick when she was not well because I couldn't take care of her if I was sick. I was sick. I was sinus infection, this and that until the baby was born. But yeah, I know that immense grief that was it. Everything just took over. And I know, like, I remember my mom calling it 9 o'clock fever. Like we'd be all, oh, I'm so sick. And, okay, you don't have to go to school together. All of a sudden you were well again, It's like, that was
I was
great.
that kind of kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
But that's the interesting thing. We know this, when you talk about this stuff, but when you say, oh, I looked after my parents or my siblings, my partner, and then once they got better, I had to really work, because to get money in, I had to work 18 hours a day, for 6 months, and then when I stopped, I got really ill. We all know that this sort of thing happens. We all know that when we're distracted or when we're working in that chaos, we can make everything happen, but we suddenly let go and collapse when things drop off. And it's this understanding that that's because you've been building up that stress for all that period of time, and there's ways to counter it, and there's ways to get that balance in, and you hear me say a lot, it's this whole thing of being a child, learning to enjoy life like a child, but taking responsibility like an adult. And the responsibility side is accepting that your health is your responsibility, that your emotions are your responsibility. And if it's the whole, in American Indians, they talk about the white wolf and the black wolf, and one is fear and anxiety and stress, the other one's love and positivity, and you get to choose which one you feed. And it's that same sort of thing, is you have to understand that the universe works in a certain way, you work in a certain way, and that you're, whether if you're working on something positively or negatively, it will affect you. And one of the biggest aha moments of that for me was the placebo effect. Is a medical understanding that they have fake tests on everything, absolutely everything, and that is to as your 0 point, to see how a medicine is working. Now, what most people don't realize is actually they have a placebo chemotherapy machine. So the actual chemotherapy machine, they have a placebo one that makes all the noises and does all, but it's fake. It's totally fake. And people who go in that machine thinking it's the real machine, they actually lose their hair. They get the burn marks. They get everything as if it was the real machine, because they think it's the real machine. Your body is that powerful. Your body is that powerful. It can make something that's not true happen. And that's the point. And they've done this on other ways. They've done this with runners, where they've made runners think of doing a marathon or doing the 100-meter dash in their minds, and their heart rate speeds up, their body temperature increases, even their muscles start to flex, because the mind can't tell the difference between what you imagine and what is real. So on health, just, forget everything else for now, but health. On your health, you govern how strong you will be. You govern how healthy you will be. You govern what happens to you. That is what we should be promoting to the world. That, there's other stuff as well, but that is definitely, that would change a lot of things. But of course, there's certain pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know that information because they can't bottle it and make you pay for it. And that might just get me banned. So, I love you guys. See you later. Bye.
Yeah, I love that big pharma.
Yeah, I mean, we don't. Let's get a pill instead of eating properly. That's what the government's not even telling us the things that we need to do, like get extra vitamin D, take extra vitamin C, make sure you're eating healthy, put away the junk food. I mean, they tell you that people that have comorbid diseases, that's like diabetes or obese, and have heart problems are more likely to have complications if they get COVID. But they're not telling you that you should stop smoking, you should start eating right, you should cut out sugar, you should start taking multivitamins if you're not getting them, eating lots of fruits and vegetables, go outside. I mean, some people are. Apparently the health minister in BC is telling people that, but that's not the message worldwide.
No. And they're definitely, epigenetics is not being worldwide. You're not being told that, how you think and feel. If you believe you're going to fall dead from looking at banana, you can make that happen. You can, and that's the thing, is that epigenetics is such a big thing, but we're not being but look at media and look at everything's fear, everything's worry, everything's doubt, everything's running how to run around like a headless chicken. And it's like, and then that is affecting people's health. That's affecting there was a medical, they did scientific experiments on the DNA. This was 15 years ago. 15 years, okay, 15 years, and they found that our DNA states that they narrowed it down to, our DNA states we should live to 150 years before we get old. What it actually said was 250 to 500, pending on certain strands in the DNA. That 250 to 500 years we should live before we get old. But they thought that was too radical, so they brought it down to 150 years, then buried the information anyway. But it's like, well, if that's true, why aren't we? Well, the studies were showing that anxiety, stress, modern day living, the foods that we're consuming that are constantly wearing down the immune system, that is all deteriorating the DNA strand, which is stopping the DNA lasting as long as it does. So when you go to places where people are less stressed, that's why the average lifespan increases. When they're getting certain diets, that's why the average lifespan increases, because they're not under the same stress as other people, in other areas. China is notorious that in the countryside, the people in the countryside on average live 15 years at least more than the people in the cities, and the people in the countryside in China are living at least to 115 to 120 years old.
Wow.
Ooh, don't want to live that old. All my friends will be gone.
I do.
Well,
I want it.
there is that, but you don't want to be. That's the whole point of that whole DNA. You want to be 100, 115 and still be fit enough and strong enough to do it. Yeah. You don't want to be a head in a jar, and live 500 years. That's no fun. I can't skate if I'm a head in a jar, so I need my legs. And I need my body to move.
Skating season starts soon. Give us a couple months. Although actually the ice is in most arenas, and it will be soon in most arenas in Canada right now. They're playing hockey again. So how do we do that? How do we get our mind that way? I should ask.
That's a good question.
How do we do that?
That's a really good question. I think, I struggle with it too sometimes, a lot actually. And I'm not afraid to admit that there's times that I get so caught up in my emotional feelings that I can't bring myself back. It takes a while to process. So Boggie, how do we get ourselves back, into a good place where we can have more control over our emotions and our vibration and all of that?
Yeah.
I think the simple answer is the hardest, and the simple answer is every day. At the end of your day, did you laugh more than you were sad? Were you happy more than you were sad? And did you laugh more than you were? Hopefully, you didn't cry at all. But did you laugh more than you cried? When the happiness is 50-50 or a lot lower than the sadness, that sadness is going to wear your mental state. That's going to affect your health and illness. So this whole thing of doing something that makes you laugh every single day, it should be actually do something that makes you laugh every single hour, or do something silly. Have things that make you smile. Try as much as possible to do things that motivate you, or at least motivate your emotions to be more positive than negative. Because if in a day you're even 49%, that's 49% of your energy is focused on negative, which means 49% of your body is deteriorating by 49%. You need your body to be at least 70, if not higher, on the positivity scale to keep maintaining. And people, how can I stay positive? Do exercise, find solutions. Rather than focus on the problem, focus on the solution. And if you can't focus on the solution, find another way to do it, or find something else, or just go, oh well, there's nothing I can do. If I'm driving down the road and the steering wheel comes off, there's not a lot I can do. So at no point screaming and panicking. Oh well, it's a good day to die. And it's that sort. It's like well, there's actually a funny. I once I did a thing called skitching back in the 90s, which is holding onto the back of a vehicle or any vehicle.
Oh, God.
And
in the 90s. In the 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s. So it's still about
too
now.
Old
but,
to be doing that.
Well, I was.
He was in his 20s. He was fine.
I was there. I mean, I was doing it all the way up to about 8 years ago. I'd still do it now. In actual thing, there's a thing. I actually booked up. They didn't know I was going to do this, but I actually booked up a helicopter here in the UK and a landing strip for my 50th birthday, and I was going to sketch a helicopter because you get a bungee cord and you sketch a helicopter, and they were doing it. They were doing it back in the 90s, and I was going to actually. I knew somebody who would do it. Says, well, just that you take full responsibility. Yeah. But then COVID come and we couldn't do it. But yes, but the whole idea. So there was one time where I was sketching on the back of a vehicle, and the guy stopped, and I boomeranged off, and I was going up to. I was going up around about 60 miles an hour on skates, heading up towards this big fence, and it's like, what do you do? Well, there's no point panicking doesn't change anything. Panicking, in actual fact, the whole point of being, when you're tense, if you brace, you're actually more likely to hurt yourself than you are to be relaxed. So, whereas I went up, I tried to skid, couldn't stop, flipped over, rolled over, hit. But the fact that I just let go and relaxed into it, we're actually less likely to injure yourself. So it's that thing of, when we worry about, at the end of the day, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen. So worrying about it doesn't change it. Just like screaming in the car as the car's ploughing into a wall, or being on roller skates, worrying about it or screaming about it is not going to actually change anything. So it's trying to change the mindset of that. Rather than, can you do something about it? The answer is yes. Do what you got to do. Why worry about it? Do what you got to do. Can I do something about it? The answer is no. Well, there's no point worrying about it then. If it's, and I know we talk about terrible stuff. There was at one stage I was homeless, and it was like, I'm homeless. I live in a cardboard box. I don't care. I'll make an adventure out of it. I'll do the best I can. But fortunately, I got a job within a day, and everything was fine. And the whole idea is the universe provides more when you're going, oh well, something good will happen, something positive will happen. When you focus on the positive, it's more likely to give you good stuff. When you're focusing on the negative, it closes down, it shuts off opportunities.
And at the worst point, if you're focusing on the positive, people go, well, that doesn't always work, but at least it makes you feel better at the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. So, yeah, the top points I just got from what you said is, one, you're as old as you feel, right? That's a mindset too, which I've got to accept. You're as old as you feel. It's just a number. So if you feel that you're young enough to do whatever the hell you want for as long as you want, do it.
Yep.
Also, that, basically radical acceptance, because what are you going to do, right? You're in a situation that you don't have a solution, radical acceptance, and then expect the best. Like, that's it. Key points right there, because I think that if we don't start to align with those points, those basically like center of gravity points that we need in our lives, we're going to start to rotate around things we don't want, or we're going to continue to rotate around things we don't want. So yeah, good points.
Yeah. Well, what I say, science, back in the 1910s, and Einstein was one of them, with a split experiment that the observer affects the experiment, which is why we have blind case studies. There are, blind and double-blind case studies in medical science, or science in general, and medical science is because the observer effect, if you're focusing on it, you can actually affect the result. So if you're focusing on things going, pardon my French, ladies, tits up, it will go tits up. You're more likely you're more likely to fall on your face or face even. You're more likely for things to happen if you're focusing on a negative result. That's what you're aiming your ship for. That's what you're aiming your skates at. A negative result. So the whole idea is, at least if you can't be positive, at least go, well, let's see what happens. At least try to be as open as possible. And when they actually did case studies on luck, and luck, about different, what the science of luck. And luck boils down to probability. And the probability is that if the people who were focusing on a good outcome more likely would to get it than the people who focused on a negative outcome, therefore didn't do certain things and didn't try, and therefore they didn't get it anyway. So if you at least focus on what you do want and hope for the best, and then you'll be a bit like Dory from, I always forget what movie that's from.
Nemo.
Finding Nemo.
Thank you.
Finding Nemo.
Just keep swimming. Just keep. Focus on what you do want, and if you don't get it, well, you might next time. You might next time. You might next time. It's like the fish going around. Oh, nice castle. Oh, nice castle. Isn't that a nice castle? It's about chat, and I think.
Yeah.
I think it's so important now, because everybody's focusing on negative. Negative gets negative. Don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on what you don't want. Focus on what you do want. If you keep talking about what you don't want, you're focusing on what you don't want. So it's about, and I'm not saying ignore the bad stuff, but you don't solve. Einstein said you don't solve a problem by using the same information and the same techniques that caused the problem to begin with. You have to think outside the box. You have to change the way you're thinking about stuff to change to create a solution for that problem.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't believe that your energy affects the people and things around you, just ride a horse. I'm just saying, if you get on a horse and you are upset, or if you're worried about something, the horse is going to make sure he or she reflects that. But if you get on and you're calm, and it's normally a nervous horse, it's calm, you just ground yourself, it's perfect. If you're going around animals and you go in with even with dairy cows, if you go in with a bad attitude, they sense it and they're like, goodbye, see ya. All right. So
and you don't even have to ride them, do you? Like horses or even dogs, is that a lot of them are really sensitive. If you've got bad attitude, they'll pick it up straight away.
Yeah. So people who say, "Oh, that's all poo-hoo," just go around an animal with bad woo-woo, and you'll find out that it's real.
Absolutely.
And
Children are sensitive to it too. Absolutely. You know, they'll be your worst. Well, not your worst, but your most clear reflectors. Yeah. They will show you everywhere you need to heal, and everywhere that you're growing, and it's amazing. It's a gift. It is once you get past the needing to evolve. But yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah.
Well, we'll always need to evolve. I think, like people talk about shadow work and, when does it end? And it's like, yeah, but if you focus on the when will it end, it never will. You'll keep getting more stuff to wish when will it end, because you're focusing on the negative. But when you realize, the whole point of the Tai Chi symbol is, which is there, it's like a wave, and the whole point is the bigger the up, the bigger the down, the bigger the up, the bigger the down. When you find your balance, and the balance doesn't mean a flat line and not moving. The balance is more like a buoy or a boat in the water. When you're that boat and you go with those waves, you're no longer affected as much. And so it's this thing of with, when you understand that darkness is just a Sifu, you'll learn from it. How many times you've heard people, maybe even yourself, you said, "Oh, there was something. Oh, it's so funny now." But at the time, it was, I was really upset or really scared or really this. But now it's so funny, and your perception changes. So it's like, well, if your perception changes, in a year, 10 years, is it going to be different to what the moment is now? So if it's going to be different to now, why are you where you are now when you can change your perception is going to be there in the end? You're eventually going to go, I got over it. So get over it now. Understand that you can get over it. Or another way of saying that is every trauma that you've been through, every horrible thing you've been through, you have to remember one thing: you're still freaking here. You're alive. You're here now. So everything that you said was horrible and terrifying, but you survived it. You got through it, and you made it, and you're here on the other side. So you are a lot stronger. You're far more of a hero. You're far more of a warrior. You're far more of a survivor than you realize, because you've got through all that traumatic stuff. And I thought that was very much a Sifu thing, but there was a woman called Melanie Black, who was gang raped in her 20s, and she came on my show, and she said that the biggest thing I had to learn was I survived that and how powerful I was, and then I had to learn I had to forgive them to let that stuff go, because otherwise I'd be carrying it for the rest of my life. So surviving it is realizing you're a survivor is one thing, but then you've got to let that past go and let those traumas go. Otherwise, they could drown you because they'll always be in your life. They'll always be controlling you, and so it's this thing of knowing that you can get through that situation, but also learning you can let go of it. And by letting go of it, and the whole thing with the boggie, it's like things have happened and situations happen, but I can do one or two. I can either think about them, focus on them, get down, get ill, and reduce the life I've got now, or I can let them go, find ways through them, and have a better life than I would have focusing on them. So which do you want? Which wolf do you want to focus on?
Right. Now, do you have? I wanted to ask if you had any sort of Qigong moves that we can do to reduce that stress instantly, like when we're just like, I don't know, we get triggered, we see it coming, and you're going to see it coming.
In the storm.
Yeah. Is there a little one we can do at our desks or just sitting here now that just would help? You said something about acupressure when we were talking earlier, so I'm really interested.
Yeah, no worries. So in acupressure, the center of the palm, especially the left palm, but the center of the palm, you take your right thumb and push it into the center of the palm. The first thing you want to do, well, if you've got nails, obviously try to do it with the flat of your palm. Don't stick your thumb all the way through the other side. You know, it's not pretty. But people won't like you for it. But what you want to do is try to push into the center of your thumb and the center of your palm, with your thumb, and you want to feel a dull ache. And then when you feel that dull ache, then you just want to circle. You're just sort of doing a spiral with the thumb the best you can. It doesn't have to be pretty beautiful spirals. It's just like a round motion. And the whole idea, so when you push in, you're activating that acupressure point. So that dull ache is saying, hello, I'm here. And then circulating is actually getting the energy to flow, because all illness, all tension, all negativity is basically stagnation. Is that when things become stagnant, they become blocked. And when they become blocked, you get negative emotions. You go into that stagnant energy. You go into illness. You become ill. So when things are flowing, and that's one of the reasons, why I do Qigong, because it keeps the energy flowing, it keeps you flowing. So circulating in that point. And then, so once you've done it, circle a couple times one way, circle a couple times the other. So you're keeping it balanced. You go one way, then you go the other. That keeps it balanced. And then, almost like if you remember the old trainers that you had to pump up, push in and release, push, release, and do that for a couple of times as well. And like I say, you feel a dull ache while you're doing this. That's good. That's showing there's something there that needs clearing. If you don't feel anything, you don't feel anything. It doesn't matter. And then do that, and then just sort of shake the hands. Now you can also do it on the other side as well. The left hand is the more prominent one for this exercise, but you can do it on both sides. So again, push in, hold for as long as you need to, or about 10 seconds to 30 seconds top until you feel that dull ache. And once you've got that dull ache, circulate one way for as long as you want to, and then circulate the other, and just listen, just feel, what you're feeling is. Don't try to work it out what you're feeling. Just observe the feeling, the sensation. And then once you've circled a few times one way and a few times the other for as long as you want to, then pump. So do that pushing for a little bit. And then you can shake both hands. Now, in reflexology, the thumb is your brain, half your brain. So you've got two thumbs, you've got two halves of brains. If you've got three thumbs, you're awesome. You've got an extra load. So the thumbs are the brain, that's your neck, and this is your shoulders. So just do press, release, press, release, press, release. Work on your own thumb. So one thumb, work on, and just gently push all the way across. I mean, you can get a little bit technical. Right in the center of your thumb, in the bulbous part of the thumb, is the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the pineal gland, which are basically the drug machines of your brain. So they circulate the different chemicals in your brain. They activate different chemicals. So working on them, you activate the drugs in your brain. So that go all the way across the bulbous part of the thumb, and then you can then do press release across the stem of the thumb as well. And again, you can do it as quickly or as long as you want, and you can put a little bit of aqueous cream on there, or a little bit of oil. If your skin's a little bit dry, or wash the hands, you can do it while you're soap on the hands, and then go across the base here. So that's your head, that's your neck, and that's your shoulders. So it's the head and shoulders, not the shampoo. We're talking about a different head and shoulders here. So work
Head and
across
shoulders,
there.
knees and toes.
Yeah. Yeah. I could actually tell you where they are as well, but we'll be here all day. So go across that base. So that's the shoulder. So that bit is the ixilla, the inside of the shoulder. That goes to the outer part of the shoulder. And then do the same on the other side. So do the head, work on the head, the brain. And any tenderness, any soreness you feel, that is that don't panic, don't run around like a headless chicken. It's just telling you there's something there that needs working on, so you work on it. So the whole idea of massaging it, if anything's sore or tender, just gently work on it, or go somewhere else and come back and work on it again. And eventually the tenderness is reduced because you're increasing the flow of blood and oxygen and qi in that area of the body. So then work on the stem, so the stem of the thumb, and then eventually work on the shoulders. So that's the acupressure bit, and then quite simply, I'm having them high so you can see them on camera, but you can have them quite low. Have your hands down near your belly. Just simply draw the hands in towards the body and away. So if I go to the side, so draw the fingers over the top and underneath, over the top and underneath. Like I say, I'm doing it at face level, but actually do it. Either put them on your lap or do them. Hands on the table. And just have them up a little bit so you can actually move the hands, but just circulating the hands. Now, the hands represent your articulation, everything you do, your actions. So when you're moving the hands, and flowing the energy, you're allowing yourself to articulate better, to do whatever you need to. Your hands also represent all your different organs in your body. So when you're doing this, you're actually working on the organs in your body. So do another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then go the opposite way. Again, and just try to draw big circles. I'm actually using all the fingers. I'm not just doing the flat hand. Using all the fingers, moving them. And when you can, this is also very good for arthritis. So if you've got arthritis in the hands or poor circulation, you suffer from cold hands. Poor circulation, it quite simply is a blockage. There's a blockage in your pipes and the water can't get through. So start flushing out the pipes, moving the hands. You'll increase the flow. You'll release that blockage. So do another 5.
So uncoordinated.
4, 3, 2. Well, I'm actually dyspraxic, which is a major coordination, and there's this big thing that it blows people's minds. Boggie, you do all this, you can do Tai Chi, you do all this martial arts. I throw a ball at you, you can't catch it. And it's like that's a different set of coordination. But it's the point is that you can coordination. The brain uses different coordination in different ways.
Are you? Did you say you're dysgraphic?
A dyspraxic. Dyspraxic, which is like
okay.
I'm
it's part of
okay.
Right.
Wow.
So, I'm just boggy. I'm just clumsy.
George is boggy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I kind of have a question that's a little bit different.
Ooh.
It's because we've all known each other for a long time. We've all seen each other grow, and we've all been through all kinds of great times and down times and together. So now I just want you to look back a minute. What is it that you love the most about what you do? Yeah, look back. Where is that? What do you love most about what you're doing?
The thing I probably love the most, the thing I love the most, on one side is helping people and seeing people helped, but also, which is very much the Barefoot Doctor side of me, is that the Barefoot Doctor doesn't just heal people; they teach people to heal themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's not helping people; it's teaching them that they can help themselves. Is what's most gratifying. If that makes sense. So it's like seeing people. Like I've known people who have had chronic pain and or fibromyalgia, ME, MS for everything between 1, 5, 10, one person 30 years, teaching them the exercises. They fell in love with the Qigongs and the philosophy and the work, and seeing within one person had fibromyalgia for I think 10 years, and within a few weeks 90% of her pain was gone. And she had facial tics, which are a hell of a lot better than they were. The person who had it 30 years took longer, took almost a year, and they were bedbound, and we started off almost with what I just taught you, those basics, and it took a couple months to get them to do the standing ones. I've had somebody who's 96 years old who died at 106, and he maintained that he got an extra 10 years because of Qigong, because he really felt that he would have been dead in another year. He was, in lots of pain and arthritis and whatnot, and it was and the whole thing of the stuff I do, even with the massage, people go, "Oh, Boggie, you're amazing. You've healed me." And I said, No. I didn't heal you. You healed you. All I do in massage, with the Shun massage and the Acupressure, all I'm doing is pressing reset. I'm pressing reset on you. I'm just allowing the body to flow again. Now the massage is good, but it's the then learning the other techniques that help on top. That's why I'm never just one thing. I'm not just a massage practitioner. I'm not just a life coach. I'm not just a Qigong practitioner. I'm not just a madman with a lightsaber.
We love your lightsaber.
Oh, yeah. They're over there. Because I was doing the thingy, they're actually out of reach at the moment, so I can't actually grab them. But, well, you say that, I can do it in about 2 seconds. But, the whole idea is everybody's so many things, and it's our society that's made you think you're limited, you can only do this, things are restricted, and you get to a certain age, and, you're old, and, you've got aches and pains, that's just old age. I know for a fact that's hollocks, from my own personal experience, from the experience of my students, but also the experience of people I saw from where this stuff came from, or partly came from China. I saw, and you put into Google or YouTube old Chinese people doing exercise. They're like Mr. Me, they're like Superman, they're doing one-hand push-ups and all this crazy stuff, and it's because their mindset is different. They've changed their mindset always was, you can achieve this. It's just a matter of time. It's doing things in different ways. So it's just understanding that we talk about ascension, and we're talking about going into 5D. The biggest thing is realizing is that you've got to let go of old paradigms. You've got to let go of old concepts. As you said, Bex, that you're not as old. You're only as old as you feel, and you should feel about 4 then, because that deep inside we're still just big kids, and there was nothing ever wrong with being a big kid. Be a child, but take responsibility like an adult. Or at least it is. That's what the saying says. And the responsibility is that you are the governor of your, you are the god or goddess of your own body. Not out there, but you are definitely the ruler of your own body, and you decide how things are going to go and how things react. If you weaken yourself, and if you take everything on, you get smaller and smaller and frailer, you're going to find it very hard to react to the world. But if you allow yourself to have abundance of energy, then there's always an opportunity. There's always a way to do stuff. And and that's the thing. Or at least when there is an opportunity, you're ready for it. That's the whole point.
Love it.
So cool.
Yes, thank you. That was amazing.
He's going to get his lightsaber.
He's up. Yay!
Yeah. I know he's got his lightsaber.
Always know where your lightsaber is.
Exactly. I need to get one.
Great. So yeah, for clearing, I gave my daughter back hers. I shouldn't have. So yeah, no, that's so awesome. Oh
like
yeah.
That was a third eye beam.
That's an upgraded one from the dollar store. I know. Yeah. That's an awesome
a pretty
one.
fancy one.
That's pretty fancy.
This is actually a proper combat one. We actually there's actually pictures of me and one of my students who's a Sifu himself. He's actually an ex world kickboxing champion. and where he started learning from me about 10 years ago, and like he'll always say, he always thought he was fit, and he always thought he was very fit, but like it was mentally and spiritually that things needed balance, and he very much calls himself a DragonDog shaman now, and as like me and him I've trained him to be a DragonDog shaman, and it's very much the lightsaber. George Lucas, the Jedi means pillar of light. The pillar of light, the Kundalini, which actually in the East, it was a dragon. It's not two serpents, it's a dragon. So the fire goes up and the pillar of light comes down. So the light comes from heaven, down the body, through in between the legs and into the core of the earth. The fire rises up. So the fire is the emotions, but the light is the balance, is the understanding. And when you have both of them, you create Tai Chi. You create Tai Chi, you create balance. So it's this whole thing people talked about Kundalini awakening, but without the light as well, you don't have that balance. And Kundalini on its own can cause trauma, emotional trauma, and can cause very big dark nights of the soul. But hey, as any good Sifu should say, what do I know?
That's so awesome. Yeah, and I mean, it's important for people to know that healers need to be healed, and we need to take time for ourselves. And I always say it's like you can't tickle yourself, so sometimes you just have to go see a healer. You can do so much work, but just allowing yourself to go see another healer it's good for both of you. So,
it activates your ability to receive, which is important. You have trouble receiving from yourself the most. So if you allow somebody else to put you in that space of receiving, it actually makes your healings for yourself also more powerful.
Well, it goes back to this thing in the West. We've got into this thing. You become a healer. You're a knight on your own, or on a mission. And
right.
There's so many people as healers who burn out. I've given up doing massage, healing, whatever it is. I've given it up. Burnout is too much. In the East, that is incomprehensible. They don't understand that you should never burn out for two reasons. Firstly, you should always be connected to the Tao, the universe, the plugged in energy, which is the Kundalini and the pillar of light, the thrusting channel, the Jedi. You should be connected to that unlimited energy because it's there. But also you should have a healer has a healer. A coach has a coach. A Sifu has a Sifu. And I was, my Sifus trained me to be the Sifu for Sifus, the healer for healers. That's why they trained me with so much different stuff. But also at the same time is I know how to use it myself. I am what's called a charger, which you girls know is, well, you don't know what a charger is, but a charger is someone who has unlimited energy and who radiates it out like a power muse. And traditional, back in the 90s, in FT 100 and 500 index businesses, I was employed quite simply to sit in a room doing my thing, sending energy out, doing my energy stuff, like quietly in the corner, building up the energy in the room, allowing them to have ideas and inspiration, and helping them in their board meetings or whatever's going on. And they're actually employed. There are people that are employed to do that still to this day. They have different names now, but originally my teachers called it a charger. And you sat there and you raised the energy. Just like you hear people saying, when so-and-so goes into the room, they light up the room, things look so much brighter. Well, that's a thing. That's a skill. It's a technique. It's not. And this is the thing in the West, we think psychic abilities, it's like a superpower. Oh, you're special. No, everybody has them. Anybody can be trained to do all of these. It's just, it's about the training. It's about understanding and learning that, if you say you can't do it, you won't be able to do it. If you say anything's possible, you'll definitely be better than you would have been otherwise. So everything can be trained. Obviously, some people are better at things than others, but anybody can be trained. I would actually, it's funny that I would never say I'm a natural skater. I've had people say, Boggie, you do things I wouldn't dare dream about doing on the ice or in rollerblades. But because I'm just quite chaotic, but it's just the way I learned to skate, and then I adapted my nature to skating. But I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a natural skater. I'm definitely not a beautiful skater, but I can definitely skate. And it's the same with any technique. You can learn it, and it's just about adapting that technique to your abilities.
For sure. And I'm not a natural skater. I can tell you that much. Yeah.
I prefer solid ground. When I walk, I prefer I'm not skating. Put me in the water, but
my aunt is a natural skater. She's 93 tomorrow, so I just wanted to put that shout out.
Yay!
And she's somebody who always meant I always say when I grow up I want to be like you, because she, 2 years ago we were up in the Arctic because she thought she could. And yeah, everybody's going, you're crazy. She says, no, I just always get insurance that I can get airlifted out. But I always intend to do that at the end of the trip so I don't ruin anyone else's. But anyways, it's just a side. So we really want to thank you today, but we have one more question for you. And I don't know if we gave it to you before or not, but if you had a theme song maybe the theme song for your life right now, if you're coming across the stage, what song would you want them playing for you right now? What sort of reflects what's going on with you and how you feel about the world and how you feel about you?
I think I'll just go with my normal. Is Madness. There was a song by Madness called I'm a Wizard. So
that sounds perfect.
Yeah. And that's very much, that's very much me, and the words behind it. When you listen to the words, it's very don't get caught, don't get caught in the negative stuff. Focus on the positive, I think that's very much me. Is that I'm the Joker, I'm the fool, but I'm also the healer and the magician. But I don't think I'm cool. And sometimes I rhyme, but not all the time.
But we think you're very cool.
Oh, please put that song if you have a chance in the comments, Sifu. So anything going on with you in the next little while you'd like to tell everybody about? Like, promote yourself, please, yourself.
Okay, certainly. So we have originally we had the Way of Conscious Mindfulness Network, and then the beginning of this year, just as COVID hit, funny enough, because I kept getting banned a lot because of some of the things I talked about. I'm quite open about some of the things I talk about, and censorship does quite like me, not in a good way. So we created Tribe TV. So Tribe TV is myself, Robin McClendon, Krista Higginbotham, and now Chi-Tech, aka Eva, and we all have different shows. Now I do the Chi Time 1 and Chi Time 2, which is basically like in the West. You hear a lot of doctors nowadays, even I've heard people 24 years old, when they're saying about aches and pains, and people say, doctors say, that's just normal, that's old age. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not what I was taught. And I've got exercises that whether you're 24 or 124, I can definitely got exercises that will help you improve your circulation, will take away a lot of those aches and pains you have day to day, and will help you on that path of building up your energy, being your own boggie. And so that's Chi Time 1 and Chi Time 2, and Chi Time 2's in a few hours' time, actually, on the Tribe. And then also the wonderful Krista Higginbotham. She does Synchronistic Saturdays, which is a balance between science and spirituality. We talked about many things, Celestine prophecies, the Four Agreements, many different books, many different situations she's talked about. We got the awesome Robin McClendon, who channels the Yeti energy and Gaia. Has always channeled Gaia, and quite recently she now channels the Yeti energy as well,
which is awesome. Yeah,
it is really cool. I've actually, I Chinese Yeti in Wudang. I've gone to Wudang and seen this Yeti style creature who literally appeared out of nowhere to me. That was in China. And that was like, oh, hello. And it was just sort of like, it's almost sort of like smiling, I think. And it was just sort of like nodding its head, going, oh, I know you. And it sort of, and then the noise happened. I turned away, looked back, and it was gone. But anyway, that's another time. And then we have Tech, who does Spiritual Book Club. And it's Spiritual Book Club. What I think was the difference is she's so passionate about the books that we have on the show that you don't even really need to know the book. She's just done a braiding with wheatgrass, and I'm actually not sure which book is next, but she'll go through the book, and you don't even have to know the book. She's really good at actually doing it in a way, and it's an open class. We're very interactive. And the people actually can be on some of the shows that actually come on the screen, and they can talk, or like here they can message and we talk to each other. And yes, at the moment there's around about 38 shows a month that we do, with over 400 shows in the background, and we do it for $10 a month. So for $10 a month, you get all these shows, and it's all about lifting your vibe and with the tribe. It's called Tribe TV, and that's the main thing. There's other stuff I do. I teach Qigong as well, but that's the main thing. You come there and you can learn all the other stuff we do as well.
Cool.
Awesome
Can you put that
stuff.
link? Will you put that link in the comments? Because I don't know if I got that one in the description.
I will do. I'll put that in there too shortly as well.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we just wanted to announce the winner before we go. And it's Relaxation of the Soul. The person who shared it out the most last week her page was called Relaxation of the Soul, and that's Valerie Couture. So thank you, Valerie. And you won with Teresa.
With me.
That's
Nope,
after
with me.
Oh no, with Bex.
Yep.
Bex, sorry, with Bex. So Bex will be getting in touch with you. Thank you so much. Oh, Rhea put it in there, so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
we'll,
Thank you. And thank you for all the birthday wishes. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, and as my nan would say, Bex, me every hair on your head, turn to candles and light your way to glory.
I love that.
And that's my that was my Irish nan, and as my Sifu would say, may you get what you want and want what you get.
I
So
love
there you
that.
go.
Thank you. Thank you.
so much. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week, everyone.
And we won't be live next week. It's pre-recorded, just so
That's
everybody
right.
knows.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we'll be here.
Sorry. We will.